It feels as though this chief operating officer, who, of course, the same job that Tim Cook used to have, is following more in his footsteps, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But I think with a touch more product expertise, obviously Tim Cook is a product guy. He has the final sign off on anything that comes out of Apple. But Jeff Williams is more connected to the development of products per se. He's more involved at the ground level. He interacts more frequently with the engineers working on the devices. He's in there in the field in the factories, but he's also in there in their weekly new product review meetings. Some people call it the Jeff review meetings, constantly giving feedback on new products before bringing it up the chain to Cook for the final sign-off. So, yeah, mostly like Tim Cook.
Mostly like Tim Cook, and he was also very involved in the Apple Watch, shepherding that to market in particular. So Tim Cook, I can't believe it, but he's already approaching his 8th year as Apple's CEO, and it's not like he's being pushed out anytime soon. So what's the likelihood that Jeff Williams will be the next Tim Cook? What would need to happen for that transition to take place?
Well, there's two types of successors at companies like this, right? There's a successor, whereas if something, God forbid, happens to the CEO tomorrow and they need a replacement, but there's also sort of like the CEO in waiting, who's going to be the next CEO when so-and-so retires in, 5 to 10 years. I think Jeff is a mix of both, right? If something were to happen to Tim Cook, Apple investors should know that there is someone just like him that would fill in the gap immediately. And everyone at Apple we've spoken to has us indicated to us that Jeff Williams replacing Tim Cook would mean there would really be no hiccups at Apple, which is really reassuring for investors. But there's also who's going to be that long-term successor, right? Jeff Williams is about 3 years younger than Tim Cook. So if Tim Cook does retire at a retirement age and Jeff Williams is still at Apple, Williams could theoretically be there until he himself decides to retire, whether that's a 3 to 5 year tenure. And in terms of if Tim Cook retires in 10 years from now, right, or 15 years from now, who replaces him then? I don't think that person is either at Apple yet or certainly not on the executive team. That person needs to have about a 15, 20-year runway from today to be that next CEO if Tim Cook retires at an older age.
Interesting take. And of course, all of the limelight was shone upon this chief operating officer when Johnny Ive took a sidestep, setting up his own consultancy, still keeping Apple as a key client. But Johnny Ive was a visionary. He helped Tim Cook sort of still show that Apple could still produce these amazing must-have kind of units. Who's the visionary now at Apple? Who would be the sidekick to a CEO of Jeff Williams?
That's less clear. That person right now doesn't necessarily exist. It was very clear that Steve Jobs was the visionary when he was alive, right? Post Steve Jobs, Johnny Ive was the visionary working with Tim Cook. Now that's not so clear. What I can tell you is that what everyone at Apple is saying is Jeff Williams wasn't born to come up with new ideas, but he certainly can shepherd them. He certainly could improve them. But on the other hand, there is some indication that he does have a little vision, right? He was the one who pitched the Apple Watch going into the health space. The story goes Johnny Ive wanted to work on the wrist. Jeff Williams pushed for it to be a health device, and that's what the Apple Watch is today.